Today I want to speak on the topic of passivity. And it's something that when you bring up the topic, you're not really going to bring up any disputes, right? You can clearly see our generation of men struggles with passivity. But I don't think it's something we take as seriously as we should. And it's something that's become really apparent to me over the last couple of days. I was watching a sermon by the village church. It wasn't Matt Chandler, it was a different pastor, and he was preaching on how passivity is a sin. And he went back to the beginning, to Genesis 3, when the reason I say Genesis 3 like that because I wasn't sure, but yeah, it is Genesis 3, right? The fall, when Eve eats of the apple and then convinces Adam to eat of the apple, and then when God comes and God doesn't ask Eve, he asks Adam, right? It's like, what's happening? And then he's like, oh, it was this woman you gave me, and it's like, whoa, Adam has caught himself being very passive. And you notice what God says is that not because of Eve, he says because you have listened to your wife, there's going to be sin in the world, right? That's where the fall comes. Adam is held responsible for the fall. And I believe something we're struggling with as men is just taking responsibility. And I think it's a wake-up call we all need, right? Because you can hear off the topic, oh, men are passive, yada, yada, yada. And you're like, okay. But you don't really think about it for yourself until you start to examine what's passivity. And I remember just listening to the sermon. He was speaking about, obviously, the passage on how Adam was passive. And then he used the example of when you're a father and, it's like a Sunday afternoon and you'd rather sit and watch the football game rather than, spend time with your wife or your kids. You're being passive, that's a sin, right? And it's like, okay. Then he's not speaking about how when you choose to ignore the alarm when it goes off in the morning and stay in bed, that's you being passive. Then it's like, okay, I see that, right? You're not being disciplined. You're being passive, right? You're not actively attacking life. And then there were two other things he said. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to remember the second one, but one of the things he said was that when you don't say something in the moment when it needs to be said, when you don't bring encouragement to somebody in a moment when they need encouragement, right? When you don't speak out against something in a moment when it needs to be speaked out against, speaked out? No, speak out is not a word. Spoke out against, right? That's being passive. And I was like, whoa, right? Because this is something we know, right? This is something we know as Christians. The bar is high, but we don't realize just how high it is. And I mean, it just goes back to something as simple as discipline. As Christians, Colossians 3, verse 23 to 24 tells us, when you do your work, do it not as if you're working for men, but as if you're working for the Lord. Right? And all of a sudden, the bar is sky high. It's like, okay, cool. I don't need to be obsessed over my performance. My value doesn't come from my performance. If I go and I try my best at my job and I suck, God doesn't love me any less, right? My value is not held there, which is a great thing, right? It's a great Christian concept. And it's just a show of God's wonderful faithfulness, right? But then the other side of it is that we're called to show up every single day to give our best. Work as if you're working for the Lord. I mean, if you're working for the Lord, it means you're giving your best every single day, right? It means, not doom scrolling at night when you should be going to sleep so you can wake up early tomorrow and actually get a good start on the day and actually work properly. It means not calling in sick when you're not sick because you just don't want to face the challenges that present themselves to you, right? It means showing up and giving your best even when you really, really hate it, right? Even when you hate it. It means showing up with a great attitude even when you don't really feel like you have a reason to be positive. And that's when you realize just how sky high the bar for Christianity, for Christians is, right? And it takes me back to the passivity argument, right? Again, not saying something in a moment when it needs to be said, that's being passive. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, right? Because, I mean, for me, I was just hearing that whole thing and I can think right now, like my life right now is not, I say not in a great place. Big picture is fine. Right, I'm just going through a difficult season. But when I look at the things that are going on in my life, I'm like, there's nothing I like about my life right now. Like, I'm not even circumstance-wise, right? Like, okay, cool, I'm doing my articles, I'm in a really tough period, whatever, right? But even myself, I'm like, I'm falling into sin, going back to my sin that I'm supposed to be letting go of very regularly, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not waking up consistently as I should. Not a fan of. I'm spending a bit more time on my phone than I'd like. I mean, I'm not getting a lot of time to spend on it because I'm busy at work all the time, but like I spend some time on my phone when I should be, being present, spending time with God. Just laziness creeping in, gluttony. I've been eating like trash. I've had no discipline in my life. And I look at my life, I'm like, okay, this is terrible, right? And then I think of the topic of being passive, and it's like, yeah, all of this has to do with being passive. Like, passivity actually is pervasive. It infiltrates every single part of our lives. And as men, we're called to not be passive, right? We're called to attack. We're called to attack the day, right? Ephesians 2. You were made for the day, and the day was made for you. God has given every single one of us, every single Christian, a particular set of gifts that we should be waking up every single day and using, right, for that specific purpose He's given unto us. Every single one of us has a calling, and I'm speaking just directly to men now. We have been given a mission. We've been given a purpose. We should be on that mission every single day. I mean, I've named this channel Disciples on Mission, right? We're on a mission. And it reminds me of something Matt Chandler would say, right, where it was like, cool, Ephesians 5, I believe it is, put on the helmet of salvation, the waistband of truth. What's the other one? The breastplate of righteousness. Put on all the spiritual armor, right? The sword of the Spirit. You've got the sword of the Spirit, the only offensive weapon we've been given, right? You put all of this on. What we're doing as Christians nowadays is like, okay, we're putting on this armor, this incredible armor we've been given by God. We're standing in the battlefield, and then we just stand there. We don't do anything else with it. And it's like, go to war. Like, there's a war happening around you, right? Are you not awake to this? And this is something that I think a lot of us men, we're struggling with. It's like, I don't wake up every day feeling like I'm going to war to win souls, right? I'm waking up every day being like, another work day. Like, I just need to survive this. I can't wait to get back home so I can spend some time, playing my keyboard, singing worship songs or whatever it is, right? It's like, no, I can't waste the whole day. Like, the whole day, I'm supposed to be looking forward, not looking forward in terms of work should be easy. Like, it is going to be difficult, but I should be waking up being like, okay, this is war, right? I need to wake up early. Okay, what is the calling God has put on my life, and how can I attack that every single day? It's like, cool. Okay, I believe I should be in the gym early in the morning, just to get the blood pumping. I should be in my word every day. I should be going on a walk. It's kind of what I've decided. Go on a prayer walk or Bible study walk. Okay, I should have a nice little morning routine to get me ready for the day. And then when I'm at work shouldn't be a thing I'm looking at it like, oh, okay, the next 8.5 hours, I've got to get through them so I can get back home and I can chill. It's like, no, you're at work. God has put you there for a reason. Go out there and give your best to that job, right? Go out there and show what it means to be a Christian, right? Show love to people. And if you have an opportunity to share the gospel, share the gospel. It's like, that's a whole day, right? In a place that God has put me in that I should be at war. But I'm not. And I mean, honestly, and even coming back after work, I'm like, come back after work, I've got these things, I want to learn my piano so I can actually learn worship songs. I do want to I started a channel. I want to actually start putting out, worship covers. I love that, right? It's like, that's something I'm like, God has given me a gift of singing, and I want to use that. I want to use that to worship Him and encourage other people. It's like, I should be cultivating that. This channel, I should be spending more time on it to create higher quality videos. Again, God has put this calling on my life, I believe, to bring community to young men who are looking for it, young Christian men who are looking for it. And it's like, I don't wake up every day feeling like that. I come back from work and I'm like, I don't really want to do this. I'm just like, And it's like, that passivity it's poison. It infiltrates every part of your life. And it just makes you a shell of a man. And we speak about the difficulty we're having with masculinity nowadays, because men aren't being passive. And there's a whole other aspect I didn't speak about, which is the topic of relationships and passivity in that aspect. But honestly, I just want to focus on this main thing, right? Because I think if we sort this out as men, where we focus on our mission, on our purpose that God has put on our lives, and we seek God every single day in an active manner, and if we do that, we will become the men that God is calling us to be, right? When we become the men God is calling us to be, we will naturally be, proper leaders, and everything else will come. I'm not gonna have to tell a man who's walking in what God has called him to be like, hey, you're being a bit passive in your relationship life. It's like, if he's continually chasing after God, he will know that being a man of God means more than just, okay, my mission, I'm focusing on this, but it's also, you're called to lead, right? You're called to go out there and find a wife, right? Unless you're called to be single, but most of the time you're going to be called to go out there, find a wife, and lead her, right? And go be a good father, a good husband, right? Like all these things come. But yeah, I don't have too much more to add on that. I think I've kind of covered the topic properly. You guys let me know what you think of the topic in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to join the Disciples of Mission. And until next time, I'll see you guys.